Imagine walking into a typical school on a Tuesday morning. The lights are on, bells ring on schedule, and students sit at desks taking notes. Everything looks like it is functioning perfectly. But if you look closer, a vital part of this ecosystem has vanished. Master teachers, the veterans who mentor new hires and know how to reach the most difficult students, are disappearing from classrooms around the world. These educators haven't reached retirement age, and they aren't being fired for poor performance. Instead, they are choosing to pack up their classrooms and walk away from a career they once loved. Understanding why these professionals are choosing to resign is the first step toward addressing the growing instability in our schools. The headlines usually frame this as a simple labor shortage, suggesting we just need to fast-track more college graduates into empty classrooms. But this chart shows a much different reality. While early career turnover is high, the exit rates for experienced veterans have climbed aggressively over the last decade. We are losing highly capable educators. When a school loses its senior staff, it loses the foundational mentors who hold the culture together. You can hire a new body to stand at a whiteboard, but you cannot immediately replace a decade of instructional expertise. Consider a dedicated science teacher in her 8th year. She is the one who arrives an hour before the first bell, starts the after-school robotics club, and patiently works with struggling readers on her lunch break. Her job requires a massive amount of invisible emotional labor. Every single day, she de-escalates behavioral conflicts, absorbs the anxieties of her students, and provides a stable psychological anchor for children facing trauma at home. This level of constant empathy demands immense psychological energy. She dishes pieces of her own emotional reserve to dozens of teenagers, minute by minute, until there is very little left. The vibrant passion that originally brought her into education begins to be overshadowed by a deep, creeping exhaustion. Dedication has limits. Without a system designed to replenish that emotional energy, even the most resilient professionals will eventually break under the weight. And emotional fatigue is only half the equation. The other half is a crushing logistical burden. Many people assume a teacher's workday ends when the students board the buses at 3 o'clock. In reality, that is when the second shift begins. Modern educators face an aggressive slate of standardized data collection, mandatory compliance reporting, endless committee meetings, and required professional development modules. This chart illustrates the shifting ratio of an educator's day. The slice dedicated to administrative tasks aggressively expands and swallows time meant for instructional planning. Because the school day is occupied by classes, that expanding administrative load bleeds into their evenings and saturates weekends. Educators find themselves spending more hours documenting their teaching than actually preparing to teach, alienating them from the core purpose that originally drew them to the profession. The final breaking point usually comes down to professional autonomy. Society places complete trust in teachers to protect the physical safety of 30 children during lockdowns, yet often refuses to trust those same experts to choose an appropriate reading assignment. When highly educated professionals are micromanaged and treated as easily replaceable compliance monitors, their motivation plummets. They feel their pedagogical expertise is ignored by the people making policy. This is why the exit is rarely a loud protest. It happens silently, late at night, with the quiet click of a mouse. Great teachers are pushed out by an environment that extracts their unending passion but refuses to respect their professional judgment. The next morning, the school district posts a job listing. A few weeks later, a new graduate is hired. On paper, the vacancy is filled, and the shortage is technically resolved. But the spreadsheet doesn't account for institutional memory. Along with that veteran teacher goes years of community trust, proven crisis management strategies, and the informal mentorship that guides younger staff. You cannot download a decade of situational awareness into a new hire. A standard curriculum guide cannot teach someone how to read a room of restless teenagers or handle a sensitive parent conference. There might be a new adult standing at the front of the room, but the hidden, structural cost of losing that veteran will hinder student outcomes for years. Reversing this trend requires looking closely at the research. While compensation is a factor, higher pay alone does not fix burnout. The data shows that retention improves when we provide fair working conditions, supportive administration, manageable workloads, and restored professional autonomy. The long-term stability of the classroom environment depends on protecting those who stay,
rather than just scrambling to recruit those who join. These educators do not leave because they stop caring. They leave because they cared for too long without support. If you want to see this change, share this video and tell us in the comments, what do you think would convince our best teachers to stay?